The streets winding through the abandoned rubble of homes are now traversed by figures in various stages of decay, slowly moving with a shuffling gait. When they spot a living creature, they immediately lunge at it, tearing it apart. This ominous scene is often depicted in movies, but it begs the question of whether zombies are just fiction, or if there is some grain of truth to them. It's almost unbelievable how popular zombies have become in today's society. For example, they have become the most beloved horror characters on the internet since 2010. Pages about vampires or mummies only receive a fraction of this interest. But where do zombies actually come from? Are they just creations of popular culture? Before we answer these questions, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. According to some theories, the characteristics of reanimated corpses, including absolute obedience and insensitivity to pain, may have been attempted to be utilized by the Nazis during World War II. Allegedly, the order to initiate zombie research came in 1942 from Albert Speer, the Minister of Armaments and War Production himself. The project was generously funded, and atomic physicists Dr. Paul Hartek and Werner Heisenberg were assigned to carry it out. These scientists, along with a team of experts, were reportedly tasked with creating an army of entirely obedient and thoughtless beings that could be deployed on all fronts where German armed forces were engaged. The main purpose of these experiments was to explore the possibilities of reviving the brains of dead bodies to make them blindly obedient to commands. Although it sounds like a scenario from science fiction, there are claims that Nazi scientists made some progress in this direction. Allegedly, Dr. Hartek created a special substance that kept the brain alive but simultaneously inhibited higher cognitive functions. This substance was supposed to be used to create beings capable of performing simple tasks, including controlling small suicide submarines. The process was intended to involve primarily prisoners from concentration camps. However, there are still doubts about the existence of this program. In particular, the involvement of physicist Werner Heisenberg, who was working on nuclear weapons research at the time, remains a mysterious and controversial question. The idea of reviving and controlling the dead, or even an epidemic virus transforming people into bloodthirsty beasts, is not confined to the realm of fiction. Nature itself employs several methods to realize such phenomena. Similar horrifying scenarios can be observed in nature, such as with ants falling victim to a tropical parasitic fungus known as Cordyceps. If an individual becomes infected with the spores of this fungus, they are condemned to a tragic fate. The fungus gradually infiltrates their body, takes control, and completely alters their behavior. Originally, colonies of these ants inhabit branches of tall trees where the environment is dry. However, the fungus forces the infected individual to descend to the damp ground through violent means. Once they do so, they are practically lost because their muscles are paralyzed by toxins, and they can only walk about a quarter of a meter. This fungus then manipulates the infected ant, directing its steps and guiding it to the optimal location for its reproduction. It keeps the ant alive for several days and subsequently leads it to a plant whose leaves provide the ideal temperature and humidity for the fungus. The ant still has enough energy to bite into the leaf, but loses the ability to detach itself from it. After a while, once the host is killed by the parasite, a centimeter-long stalk grows from its body, bearing new fungal spores. Because the ant remains suspended on the leaf, the spores can spread over greater distances and infect other individuals. The fungus indirectly enslaves its victims instead of killing them, allowing it to spread and acquire new hosts. It employs this strategy because it requires specific conditions for reproduction and several weeks of time. If the ant were to die within the ant colony, other individuals would carry its body to a designated waste area where the fungus could not survive due to dry conditions. Therefore, it raises the question of whether something similar could pose a threat to the human population. There is even a possibility that humans may have encountered something similar in the past. Archaeological excavations in the area of the ancient Egyptian city of Hierakonpolis have yielded a shocking discovery. Researchers uncovered a burial site over 5,000 years old, and this burial ground contained very mysterious traces. Not only were the heads severed from the deceased, but the walls of the tombs themselves bore marks of strange scratches, as if the dead were trying to escape. However, that's not all. Well-preserved brains with unusual morphology were also found in separate skulls. According to American archaeologist Tom Flanagan, there is a possibility that these brains were attacked by a virus that completely changed the behavior of the affected individuals. It seems that the term zombie has its origins in the English language and first appeared in 1810 when British historian Robert Southey used the word to describe one of the African deities. However, slaves in Haiti also used this word to refer to a curse that could bring the dead from their graves to serve powerful black magic practitioners known as Hugan, Mambo, or Boker. These practitioners were said to be able to kill a person and revive them several days after their burial. In reality, the revived individual was more like a body without its own will, inhabited by one of the death spirits called Gwede. This living dead, without its own will, was used for work in the fields and in agriculture. Although experts consider voodoo priest spells to be superstitions, there were cases that remain unexplained and defy scientific explanation. According to legends, Haitian shamans were able to create a powder that could revive the body of a dead person and make it obedient. The mystery of this magical concoction was attempted to be unraveled by Harvard botanist Wade Davis in the 1980s. The scientist was convinced that reviving the dead was indeed possible. According to his theory, the shamans were able to seemingly kill their victim using mixtures containing tetrodotoxin, a toxin that paralyzes the nervous system. Subsequently, they administered extracts of hallucinogens and antibodies that, along with paralysis, deprived the person of their will. Samples of the powder that Davis obtained in Haiti did indeed contain tetrodotoxin. However, other experts cast doubt on his theory. According to them, it is not possible to keep a person in a lifeless state for an extended period with just a powder. Something more seems to be needed. It's possible that forces are involved in the entire process that we do not yet understand. The first testimonial dates back to 1980 when a 60-year-old Haitian woman, Angelina Narcisse from a village in Haiti, goes to the local market as she regularly does. While examining fruits at one of the vendors, someone unexpectedly puts a hand on her shoulder and asks, "Angelina, is that you?" When the woman turns around, she has an almost frightened look. Before her stands a person who remarkably resembles her brother, even though her brother died 18 years ago. However, Angelina is certain that her brother is dead because she attended his funeral. Now, we must go back almost 2 decades, specifically to April 30th, 1962. In Haiti, at the Schweitzer Hospital in Deschapelles, where most of the doctors are Americans, patients are being treated. On that day, they admit a man to the emergency room in an extremely critical condition. He has a high fever and is coughing up blood. Despite all attempts at treatment, the man dies after 3 days, and the doctors issue a death certificate. This patient's name was Clairvius Narcisse, and he was 40 years old. The unbearable heat in Haiti necessitated burying the dead only a few hours after their demise. The entire family, including Clairvius's sister and brothers, gathered for the funeral. Angelina remembered this event vividly. However, she now had to face the unbelievable fact that her brother was still alive. The man knew details from her past that no one else could know. He claimed to have been enchanted at the behest of his brother and cursed by a voodoo sorcerer who unearthed him from his grave on the night of the burial. Clairvius then described how his brain was washed with strange potions, and he had to work on a sugarcane plantation with others who had a similar fate for almost 20 years. His escape became possible only after the plantation owner died. He wandered the countryside, and it took a long time for his memory to return. According to historical records, Narcisse was not the only case. In the same year, 2 women returned to their homes, claiming to have been zombies, and local farmers even spoke of encounters with a group of zombies wandering aimlessly through the countryside. A visit to Clairvius's grave confirmed that his body had been dug up and exhumed. However, local authorities could not push their investigation further. Clairvius couldn't locate the place where this mysterious plantation was, where Clairvius spent years of his life, and whether he truly became a slave due to the black magic of Haitian shamans remains shrouded in the unknown. Despite the absence of hard evidence, voodoo cult priests believe that death divides a person's soul into several parts. A powerful sorcerer could imprison the spiritual aspect of a person, called bonange or good angel, and strip it of bodily autonomy, turning this vessel into a useful tool for a slave. Whether zombies are the result of indigenous magic or the action of as yet unknown parasites or viruses, one thing is certain: this matter should not be underestimated. Many of us wonder if something like what we see in zombie movies could happen in the real world. Theoretically, yes. There is a virus that can turn people into mindless aggressors, and that virus is ordinary rabies. Rabies is lethal unless vaccination and antibodies are administered immediately after infection. Fortunately, rabies is not easily transmitted among humans. However, a disaster could occur if the rabies virus mutated and acquired flu-like properties, allowing it to spread through the air. Infected individuals could initially easily mistake the symptoms for a common cold until it's too late, and they would succumb to the numbing fury. They would become aggressors and start attacking without warning, turning them into zombies. Even in 2011, the US Department of Defense developed a strategy on how to respond in the event of a threat to human civilization from a zombie apocalypse. This document, called Plan 8888, includes a 30-page plan for maintaining safety and defense against such a threat. That's all from us for today. If you're interested in videos filled with mysterious mysteries, dark stories, legends, or monsters, and you crave more, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any new videos.